President Trump says he will be ending payments to sanctuary cities by the end of the month. Roll tape.
Starting February 1st, we're not making any payments to sanctuary cities or states having sanctuary cities because they do everything possible to protect criminals at the expense of American citizens, and it breeds fraud and crime and all of the other problems that come. So we're not making any payment to anybody that supports sanctuary cities.
Wow, as I said before, that is drastic. Congressman Byron Donalds, Republican from Florida, joins me now. Cutting sanctuary city payments will put a huge hole in their already shaky finances. Could it be the end of sanctuary city status?
I definitely hope so. This is something that should have been done a long time ago in the United States. Thank you, President Trump, for your leadership on this matter. If you have cities and if you have states that decide on their own that they are going to violate federal law, then they do not deserve federal tax dollars from the American people. That is a fact. That's the way it needs to be. These jurisdictions don't have the authority to decide what federal immigration law is going to be. They have a responsibility to follow the law under the United States Constitution. If they're not going to do that, don't give them any money.
Pretty clean cut. Next one, Congressman. During oral arguments yesterday, conservative Supreme Court justices signaled support for state bans on transgender athletes in girls' sports. Listen to Justice Sam Alito, his debate with an attorney representing a biological male athlete.
What does it mean to be a boy or a girl or a man or a woman?
We do not have a definition for the court, and we don't take issue with we're not disputing the definition here. What we're saying is that the way it applies in practice is to exclude birth sex males categorically from women's teams, and that there's a subset of those birth sex males where it doesn't make sense to do so according to the state's own interest.
Well, how can a court determine whether there's discrimination on the basis of sex without knowing what sex means for equal protection purposes?
All right, Congressman, you attended yesterday's pro-ban rally outside the court. May I just say, personally, I'd like to see a clean-cut 9-0 decision on this. How about you?
I completely agree, because what that attorney said made absolutely no sense to anybody with common sense. A birth sex male is a boy. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what we call them. They have a Y chromosome, they have an X chromosome, they are a boy. You do not have boys compete against girls. Boys and men are bigger, stronger, and faster. We build muscle in ways that women do not. That's just a matter of fact. And the lunacy of the radical left to think that this is normal is proof positive of why they do not deserve to be in the levers of power in Washington, D.C., or frankly, any other jurisdiction. Because if you can't get something as simple as boys not competing against girls right, then you are a fool, and nobody should be able to trust your judgment.
May I just go back to the Minneapolis shooting? Do you think that President Trump retains public support for the way ICE is raiding cities?
I do. I think especially in light of what's happening in Minneapolis, because you have Tim Walz, that stupid mayor in Minneapolis, and a lot of these elected officials on the Democratic left who've been calling ICE Gestapo, calling ICE the SS troops, stormtroopers, you name it, when they're just doing their job enforcing federal law. And let's remember, Stu, the American people gave Donald Trump a mandate in 2024 to deport criminal illegal aliens. They're not just going to show up and say, yeah, I'm going to leave the country. You have to send in people to get them. That is what ICE is doing, and ICE needs to continue to do its job.
Congressman Byron Donalds, thanks for joining us, sir. I know we'll see you again real soon.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.